I hope this one goes easier than the last one. Bit of a struggle, that one. But anyway, it didn't turn out too bad. It just took a long time. But I hope you, when it finally uploads to YouTube, you can fast forward some of the quieter bits. I was wondering what to do, where to go. What I've got is some watercolour paper I bought about a year ago. It wasn't really suitable for the way I use it. It's a bit slick, but I bought 25 sheets of it. It was quite inexpensive. It looks like a machine paint. I don't know. It's got like a mechanical grain through it. But anyway, I'm going to use it for watercolours. It's smaller than the ones we have been using. It's 12 inches by 6. That's the normal size sheet. Which is 15 by 11. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to try and do a woodland scene, but I'm doing it upright. And I want a bank sort of coming down a bit of distance. Just change the format of it. I've primed the paper with a burnt sienna wash using some gloss or some matte varnish diluted with water, which seems to work as a medium, just to make the paint flow. It gives a bit of a slightly shiny, but well, anyway, I'm going to put a couple of birch trees. I'm just going. Well, we'll just see how we go. I think I'll start with the foreground. Being a smaller piece of paper, it should be quicker to cover. Just shake the excess water out of my brush. Right, okay. Let's knock up a bit of a green. Black and yellow. Just get some paint on this paper. And then I'll change my brush. I'll put in a bit of a background. So I'll use I want some sky coming down here. This is a part of the wood downhill. Nice and soft. We'll have a bit of a bright sky, I think. Blue. Bit of medium. As the impasto builds, it will obliterate a bit more. No watering, and there's just a bit of household acrylic matte varnish. Mix it with a bit of water, just come down there. And as we build up an impasto, we'll be able to scumble across it. Scumble, I think that's another word for dry brush. So we'll have a bit of touch of the vermilion, touch of the ochre. Just bash in the sky. A load of white. Too much ochre. Years ago when I started to paint and draw, I just wanted to paint or draw trees and skies. Trees and skies. I still love them, like 40 years later. I don't like keep pulling hairs out of this brush. There's not going to be much left of it the way I'm going. Some brushes I bought many years ago, I was doing a lot of oil painting, were these Chinese brushes. They've got a lot of, they're about 1.25 inches long, bristles. They do lovely, lovely things. But the bristles are a little bit, if you're using bristle brushes with oil painting, paraffin, kerosene is a good solvent, and it keeps the bristles soft rather than white spirit, which makes them hard and brittle. However, my palette is the usual one, the more or less watercolour palette. Let's build up the. The reason why I put a tint on the board, on the paper, is to give a mid-tone, so that whatever you put on it registers right in the contrast. If you paint, when you paint straight on white paper, you tend to paint too light because what you put on as a colour looks too dark, and you end up with a washed out painting if you're not careful. So that's the basis of our sky. I'll just see if I can demonstrate this brush. I want some nice lights, greeny. No, pushing. I'm not pushing, dragging, touching. It's a way of getting different surface textures. We can put in some warmer colours there, or some shadow. No, I mean shadow colours. Acrylic is very forgiving. You can cover up quite quickly. Let's get some dark behind that, so that will highlight the lighter strokes. I should have done that first, but anyway. This is all shadow area, and we can have in there. We can put in some sandy colours. Good for this room in that. Too much. I know you can't see me working on the palette, but I'm using this Masterson Stay Wet palette. Which is a lovely Tupperware type of tray, which holds a membrane and something to hold water, like a sponge, not a sponge, but there are special sponges, which they're quite pricey. This sponge costs pennies, just a bit of cheap furniture. So soak it with water in the tray, leave the membrane on it for a while to soak up a bit of water, and then put your acrylic out. There it is. And when you finish for the day, or for the session, put your lid back on it and keep it all nice, lovely and moist, indefinitely. Now I'll mark that brush up, I'll have to go and get another one. I've got loads of these. Yeah, another one. They're nice and soft. Swig of tea. Need some more lemon yellow, or cadmium yellow medium. We'll get some of this nice catching the light. Got a bit of ochre in there. Oh, just dragging over, softening, bit of blending. Right, okay, that'll do for that. That's all dry. Marvellous, isn't it? And when it's all finished, you couldn't tell the difference between it and an oil paint. It's the binder that's different. The pigment, I think, is the same for all paints. It's just what it's held together with this gum arabic, as in watercolour, PVA glue or whatever, plasticizers for the acrylic, and various types of oil in oil paint. But acrylic has taken a long time to become really popular. Now, I just want to strengthen up this now. A little bit darker. I'm going to couple a lot of this up with me wood. And I'm going to get some more dark down here. Then when I put my lights back there, it will register against a darker background. Light against dark. So let's bring that up into the landscape. But this is the background of the. I need that more blue. So I get a pleasant shape in there. Right, back in with the lighter area. Just soften in there. I'm just bringing the light down into these trees. Just softening, just bringing some lighter, oh, it's catching the high spots, anyway. Because this basically is my sky, my background. Just dragging over. Now, as promised, we'll go back into this foreground. And get in some of these lights again, this greeny, ochre. Alright, now, what would happen if I used a little knife, mix up a bit of umber, so I reckon umber, a bit of ochre, not over mixed, bit of white, try to show some of the land underneath this foliage, the grass. I'm trying to give the impression of some of the soil underneath that's just showing. We can modify that later. Now I want a bit of texture behind this, so we'll go with a darker bluey colour. More red. Terry Harrison's a great demonstrator and artist. He uses sponges for doing all this in a different type of stay wet palette made by Taylor Rowney. We can put some reddy colours in there. Oh. Just show a bit of warmth. But I'm definitely not advancing that. So this is just background foliage. I'll try to make pretty. Right, now we're going to do the trees. I refuse to use my good brushes for, well, my finer sables. We want to put in some birches. We'll have one coming up here. I'm going to have that one here. They're going to be bigger than this, but like the ones I did the other day. Just putting in some any old colour, because I'm going to use a flat brush on one of these. But in the background we can put in some right, we got no. Let's get in with this brush, the white and the black. Silver birches are just gorgeous to paint. They just cry out. And the white and silver grey and the black bits on the, or very dark, where the bark is peeling off. I'm just building up an impasto on these so I can drag a bit of sienna. So I said that, oops, I was just putting in a mark really where I was going to put this paint. Come up here. This paper's expanded with the water. So I'm going to put my lightest lights against my dark bits. My trunks are tapering off a bit too severely there, so let's thicken up a bit. I'll be a bit careful. Bit of black, bit of sienna. So once you've got some paint on this, you can drag over it and get this lost and found effect. So they're quite dramatic, aren't they? It's the contrast. You can substitute burnt umber for the dark. But when this dries, you just feather over it with a brush. And it'll pick up from underneath. Now, also the sort of blue, and I think we can put another one in behind there. Be behind this one. Get the lights back in there. Maybe I'm going to risk using my inch flat. It sort of cries out for it, doesn't it? Oh, here it is. Slightly blue. Some dark in there. Bit of lost and found. So that's just showing nicely there. So go back with our slightly blue. Bit of a rigger. And we'll just I've got a finer rigger over there. Branch coming down. They're just adding bits and pieces. Wet enough. Shadow. I wanted that one there to go behind, so I'll just go back with that to light colour, just paint that out. Brush. Nice light kind of somewhere here. Right, let's just get a bit of dark in here. Right, well we're getting there. Put some some stuff in there, I don't know what yet. Mostly blue in there, so, oops. Oops, careful. Ah! There's just some bits of trunk and no, I'm struggling here, but just getting the paints of the of this rigger. Yeah, that's just gone all over the place there. Take that off. Just getting the impression of going down a hill there. Couldn't do that with oil. I'm not getting paid to demonstrate all this. Just trying to show some streaks here, with some bits catching the light in there. It's more like a tree tutorial, this one. Of, just dragging a little bit over the high spots here. I think this is quite exciting. So we're trying to make something out of nothing. I'll kill that nasty bit there, that little bit of rye. Trying to paint that out there. think we're nearly there, just a few details in this foreground. I'll try to get a bit of blue in there, make it look more silver grey than. Right, bigger. There's the blue one. Ah, there it is. Lost in the great big pot. Probably overdone that. Let's reduce some of those a little bit. Right, now the last bit of the flurry, I just want to put some good, really good bright lights in here. I need to get that right, because I'm right-handed. I'm not getting a good edge down there really. And I reckon we could probably just put in some leaves on the tip of there, over from last year, this spring. And just the texture, and then we have a woody scene. Spring. just this, just the light catching some spring leaves. Bit of a chocolate box, isn't it? Hey, Saturday afternoon, and I consider this work. And we can just go a bit dark in the foreground now, I reckon. And then I could say we're sort of just about done. Because you could go poking and prodding this for hours and hours and hours. So just putting some dark shadow in the depth there. The more dark you put in, the lighter the lights get. I won't be painting them anymore this weekend. Oh, there we are, I'm going to let that go. I'll give it a signature, I'm going to put it in the mount. Oh, I don't know if I've got a mount for this one. I might have an old weight there 1 minute. I might have a sort of mount that would do. Probably a bit small. Oh, let's try that one. Now I've got to be careful here, I don't want it to fall into the paint. Oh yeah, well that'll do. Yeah, there we are. Woodland scene by me. And I'll zoom you in. See me texture, look, all loads of colour. It's not often I do one in portrait form, but there it is. One fairly quick. There, just have a little look at that for a few seconds. Study. I think that could be a little bit more emphasised. So let's just. Just get some light and some blue light on there. A bit more dark on there, I think. First, underneath. So that'll do. I'm stopping there. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.